In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Krause. Cash, how are you doing this fine day?
Doing pretty good. Back on another TV Tuesday.
Yes, sir. TV Tuesday.
Still rolling with Umbrella Academy Season 1.
Yes.
Last
Season
week,
1.
we did Part 1, 1 through 5. Shit was popping off. Klaus back to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Well, not back, but I mean,
Yeah.
he went back in time to Vietnam.
Yes.
Yeah, Five got a new job at the commission.
Mm-hmm.
And things were going crazy. Oh, Vanya got first chair.
She did.
And she earned it through hard work. Dedication to the instrument, and having a batshit insane boyfriend.
Right. It had nothing to do with Leonard whatsoever.
Which is what we'll find throughout history is if you got a crazy enough boyfriend, you'll get straight to the top. Look what happened to the Tanya Harding.
Yeah.
Ice skating.
Good point. Very good point.
Did absolutely nothing. Her boyfriend piped her down. So, yeah, I think good things will happen. You just get a partner that's just crazy enough to do anything for you. You'll make it to the top.
Yeah, you'll go places.
You will go places, and without you even knowing. So that's what happened when we left off. We'll jump back into episode 6, The Day That Wasn't. And this might be my favorite episode of the entire season.
Okay.
Because it's when we go back and Klaus is in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do the Vietnam era really, really well done. Really cool. It feels like a Full Metal Jacket or something. But Klaus is in Vietnam. You know, he's fallen in love with Dave.
Yes.
They fall in love. They go to the club, like a cool 90s or a cool 60s.
And you know I'm going to bring it up. They're playing The Doors.
Of course.
Yeah.
There was only one band playing at the time of Vietnam, and it was The Doors.
The Doors and Sabbath. You know, those were the two.
Doors, Sabbath, Buffalo Springfield, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. Or
Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course. But yeah, not a lot of bands.
No.
It only seems like there's only the same 5 songs being played in Vietnam.
Yes.
But yeah, it is. They, of course, they played The Doors. You have to, because how else do you know it's the 60s?
And we brought it up in the first part of this review or recap. But man, the score, the music, the soundtrack for
Love
this,
it.
it's just awesome. Yeah. Every song just kicks.
Or the Rolling Stones. They'll play the Rolling Stones.
Got to play the Rolling Stones too. Yes.
Yeah. Sympathy for the Devil.
Yep.
Please
allow me to introduce myself.
In every Vietnam movie, it feels like. But yeah, so I really like this episode. And it's a cool episode because it's like, it's that up moment, you know, we're in the second act where things are going really good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Vanya starts to understand her powers or realize her powers even, not even understand them, but realize them.
Luther and Allison have a good moment.
They do.
They remember when they go up to the fort that their dad caught him in.
Yes.
That was a funny moment.
The flashback.
When he's like, don't you remember playtime is strictly on Saturdays between 12 and 12:30, half an hour once a week.
12.
Yeah,
yeah, once a week. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Once a week having a half an hour of playtime. That's terrible.
But yeah, it is a nice moment, and Diego and Klaus have good moments too because Diego is helping Klaus sober up.
Yeah,
and they have some real good bro time. You know,
they do
because Klaus kind of opens up to him about Dave, and Diego opens up to him about the cop that got shot.
Yeah,
so it's a nice moment.
It is,
and also Five, he's getting his job back, which he fucking hates, but.
Yeah, and you know things are not going to go well right away when he gets that job back. There's always something beneath Five. There's always something that he's planning for.
Oh yeah,
it's just
it's
who he is.
Well, yeah, because he knows that the commission is still trying to make the world end.
Yeah, the apocalypse happens.
So he knows he can't, because the whole reason he went back to the commission was because he said, "I'll go back, but you got to protect my family."
Yes.
And they said, "Yeah, of course."
Oh yeah.
Until the world ends. Yeah.
And then they're all gonna die.
For 2 days, we'll protect him. But yeah, so he does go back, but yeah, it's all fake. He's already looking at stuff. He's looking at like some old grenades that the main commission lady has. So things are ticking.
Oh, of course.
And he's like an 80-year-old man trapped in a 12-year-old's body. So he's feeling spry, feeling good, but he still has the wisdom of an old man.
This is also the episode 2 where Cha-Cha gets sent orders to kill Hazel.
Yes. Yeah, and she ends up not being able to do it.
No, she doesn't.
And Hazel kind of...
takes her out in the forest and then's like, oh, I can't do it, and then drives back.
Yeah, but then they pretty much just, Cha-Cha and Hazel pretty much just say, let's just, try to stop the world from ending, and then let's just kill people that we want to kill. So having them tell us who to kill. Which is just everyone's dream, is just to be able to kill.
No one wants to be told what to do. You want to kill who you want to kill.
Well, it's America.
It is America.
So yeah, of course you do. So yeah, but in the end, Cha-Cha ends up leaving with Agnes. That hot donut.
Oh, dude, he loves that donut lady.
That donut dime piece. But yeah, and 5 ends up getting away from the commission, blows a bunch of shit up with those grenades.
Yes, he does.
That was
I like that scene. Yeah, that
it's
was
a really good scene where he's
callback,
bouncing
too.
in and back. Yeah, it's awesome. He's blowing everyone up. And he knocks out the old lady who's in charge of the tubes or whatever.
Yep.
I can't remember what her name was. But everyone loves her.
They love that woman.
Because he's like, why can't we just get rid of her?
Get rid of her.
She's like, oh, I can't do that. People would have my head. Yeah.
Well,
But yeah.
the biggest thing that 5 saw too was he got that message that said to protect this man, and at the time we don't know who it is, but we know is Harold Jenkins.
Yes, and he tries to send something back that says kill Harold Jenkins, but he ends up being stopped and whatnot.
He does. But he's able to send Cha-Cha and Hazel both terminations for each other.
Yes, which doesn't end up working.
It doesn't.
Unfortunately. So that's episode 6. Episode 7, the day that was. This is a good episode as well, because we get Harold Jenkins, which is really Leonard Jenkins.
Yes, which is
Vanya's boyfriend. Origin story. And it turns out that it's a classic origin story for a bad guy.
Of course. I mean,
just a super fan.
It's depressing right away. From the moment he's born, his mother dies at birth. It's a normal birth. He dies at birth, the father, and then we kind of get a flash forward with his father as he's a young child.
His
father hates him because he
him.
looks at him, and obviously he killed his wife.
But his dad's also a drunk.
He's a drunk, an alcoholic, and an abuser as well. A real shit dad.
Yeah, just your typical Brooklyn dad. Smacks you around a little bit, makes you immediately go grab him a beer from wherever he's coming from. The kitchen's got to be fully stocked with beer. But but he was a super fan of the siblings, the Umbrella Academy, because he was born on the same day, I think.
He was, yep.
But
same
obviously,
day, same year.
So he thought that he was one of them. He thought he was related to him, but no, he was just born.
Coincidence.
Exactly. So he's obsessed. He even went to them at one point and asked the worst guy you could ask, Reginald, if he could. And Reginald pretty much just says in front of a crowd of thousands of screaming
says,
fans,
"You're not special, kid. You're ordinary. Get the hell off my
You'll
property."
You'll never be special.
Grabs him by the back of the shirt.
Abuses him. Really?
Just chucks him in.
It is the 80s.
Full-grown adults
it is the 80s, so you are allowed to.
Pointing and laughing at the kid.
The crowd
I'm
goes
like,
dead silent. They're hearing everything.
And
the
and
meanest
they're all
crowd.
laughing at him. I'm like, geez, this seems a little absurd.
It's basically the exact origin story of Syndrome from The Incredibles. But when he tells him to go home, but that's typical, man. Whenever you're telling someone they're gonna become a supervillain. It happens. Reginald should have been smart about that.
And as the saying goes, never meet your idols because they'll always disappoint you. And I would say this is a colossal disappointment.
Yeah. He had his bag back.
He's like, come on, pal. Come live with us.
So that's how Harold, a.k.a. Leonard, got his start. He ends up, after getting shunned by the Umbrella Academy, goes home, gives his dad a little murder action going
and
on.
He melts the faces off of all of his Umbrella Academy action figures. Yes.
Exactly. Or collectibles.
Collectibles, yeah. Right,
They're not toys,
they're
they're
not
collectibles.
toys, they're collectibles, yes.
But, so 5 later, so yeah, that's all revealed, and Five figures that out, and they try to go and investigate Harold/Leonard's house.
Yep.
But they find that, well, they find the action figures, so they immediately know that it's him, but nothing else, because they don't know where Harold or Vanya are at this point.
No,
because they're busy getting fake jumped. I don't. That's this episode, right?
Is it this episode?
Yes, it is. It's episode 7. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
They set up because Leonard, we find out when he was young, or not young, but he got Reginald's diary,
Yes, he did.
and he's been figuring out everything for Vanya, and that's how he's been
He
knowing
found it.
everything.
He found it in the garbage can because Klaus took
Yes,
it.
and threw it
Remember,
away.
and threw it away
When he was going through the valuable
Yes.
shit to sell for
drugs.
yeah, for drugs. So he found that, and that's how he's been able to figure Vanya out. And so now they're in the middle of figuring Vanya's powers, him and Leonard.
Yep.
And he knows already that it's through emotion, but he can't let her know that he knows.
Yeah,
'Cause something
and
will
like
just-
he gradually just gets more pushy and pushy
Yeah.
as the season goes on. I'm like, this
Just
guy
red
like, is
flag after red
yeah,
flag.
I know. And Vanya just completely going over her head. She has no idea.
Well, you really know when she's like, I got to get ready for my my recital. He's like, fuck that.
yeah, she's like, what?
He's like,
He's
well, what do you mean, fuck that? He's like, it doesn't matter anymore, Vanya.
you got powers.
And Vanya's immediately like, what? Like, who cares about any of that shit? Because Vanya, right now, she doesn't believe that she has powers.
And
They
even if
walk through the street and all the shit's
and it's
bending.
bending and yeah.
But she doesn't believe it.
And the rain stops.
Yeah, but he knows because he knows, because he read the fucking diary.
Yeah.
So he sets this fake jump up, but they
Okay, so I want to talk about that fake jump because the first time I watched this, I went through and rewatched it again so we could review it or recap it. But I'll never forget watching that the first time. I was like, this show is so good. Who wrote this scene? This is the worst fucking scene ever. Why would these guys just be,
yeah.
on your car? I was like,
knew
this
it was
is
fake.
so
I knew it was
stupid.
fake immediately.
See, I didn't.
I did.
I thought it was just shitty writing.
But then they take it a little too far, so
they do.
second guess. You're like,
Right.
oh my god,
Yeah.
these guys are really selling it.
I know, it's just like 0 to 100 so fast that I'm like,
they
what the
beat his eye out of his head.
They got a little too
These
drunk.
guys are method actors.
They are method
They're
actors.
really getting into the role here.
Well,
Because
2 of them even died.
really died. Really took their own life. Yeah. I guarantee Harold was like, maybe I went a little too far as they're beating him to
Right.
death.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if he just paid him and said, just kill me.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay you guys to just kill me.
Try to kill me and we'll see what happens.
But Vanya does end up using her powers.
She does.
Kills, like you said, kills 2 out of the 3 guys. Doesn't kill enough.
But one's
unfortunately.
in the ICU.
He's in
critical
critical
condition. Lucky to be alive, I'll say that.
Oh, and-
lucky to be alive.
But not to say Harold walked away unscathed. He is a
No, he
mess.
didn't.
Fake eye
Fake eye,
at
yeah.
this point, which we end up finding out
I think
is
he's in
the
a
glass
sling
eye.
at one point.
Neck brace. I'm not sure if he'll ever be right again.
He'll never be the same.
But that's a love.
It is
That's
love. You will
true.
do
Again,
anything
when
for
you're
love.
bad shit crazy.
Right.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable how far they'll go just to prove their love. But yeah, and also at this point, Diego is prime suspect for Detective Patch's murder. Everyone thinks that he did it because they only ever saw them arguing amongst each other, so it doesn't look good for Diego. And Diego's a weird kind of.
He's a strange guy.
yeah.
And his DNA was all over the crime scene.
Oh yeah, fingerprints. They said everywhere.
And I knew that was going to come back to him the first time I watched this because I was like, dude, he's like picking her up. There's blood all over him. I'm like, bro, your DNA's everywhere now.
Yeah, he pees himself.
And he himself defecates in the toilet, doesn't flush.
Spits before he was smoking cigarettes. He's yeah. Yeah, he left a lot of DNA.
Yes, he did.
Unfortunately, he did.
All over that.
But this is also a really funny episode because Luther finds out that he's been up on the moon for nothing. That's
Oh
sad.
my God.
Reginald has been he's been sitting down samples for you, and he's been just hiding them. Because we find out Reginald,
doesn't even
again, the
open the
worst dad
packages.
ever. Worst dad ever.
Yeah, he's awful.
He only sent him there so he would have a purpose and not embarrass the family because he's half ape now. But yeah, he sent him over there for nothing. So Luther figures this out, goes on a bender, goes to a rave,
He does.
has
Meets
a
some
good
interesting
time.
folk.
Yeah, oh yeah, meets a woman.
She likes furries, is what I hear.
Big fan.
Big furry fan.
Which is very odd, but
It is
perfect
an odd
for Luther.
fetish. Absolutely.
Perfect for Luther. But the big moment here is Klaus gets in a fight and dies.
He does die.
But he goes and in the afterlife sees Reginald, who's still an asshole.
Which I like the way they shot this too. That black and white.
Oh yeah, and
you
the
know,
little
I thought
girl,
it looked really
the little
good.
girl
Yeah,
coming up like it looked like almost like Paris
and then like
or something.
and then his father shaving his face off.
Exactly.
I mean, not his face off, but I mean shaving his
face off.
Just his skin.
It wasn't a horror. It wasn't a horror scene. It was a light scene, but
it was.
But basically, what Reginald says is he killed himself to get the whole family, the crew, back together, and that was the only way. And that Klaus has not reached his full potential yet.
Yes.
And he does eventually in this season. But that's pretty much it. He comes back to life, tells the family, and the family is doesn't really believe it and is kind of pissed that he
No,
they
because I
lied
mean
to him.
Klaus is a habitual liar. He's a drug addict. He's a fiend. So it's like, what can you really take this guy's word on?
Yeah.
You know, at the same
but
time.
he's been sober 2 days.
Well, 2 days doesn't make up for
2
the last
days.
15 years of someone's life.
But it's crazy because we find out that Reginald locked Klaus up in a mausoleum when he was 13 to
Just chill out with dead people.
So we really find out why Klaus
It's kind of fucked up.
has started doing meth and heroin at the age of, who would have guessed, 13.
13.
Right around the time
those
he was
coincide
locked in a
together.
mausoleum.
Yeah.
It's so weird how those are...
Impeccable timing.
It's so weird that every time I lock my kid into a mausoleum, they start doing heroin very recently
When
after.
their one power is literally seeing dead people.
All right, so that's episode 7. Episode 8, I heard a rumor. So they're all looking for Vanya. They're unable to find him. Allison lies to a cop.
Which, I like that scene. That scene was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was
I like
good.
the dynamic between her and that cop. Because he was like, hold on, you're Allison Hargrave.
Yeah.
He's like, my
But
my
he
wife
wasn't
would
that
love you.
he wasn't that impressed. He's like,
Yeah.
well, I got to go now.
I know. She's
He's
like,
just
can I
trying to get
tag
out of there,
along?
yeah.
I'm researching a role. And he's like, okay.
I know. But yeah, she does that to because the cop was investigating Vanya getting jumped.
Yep.
And they end up going to the hospital, talking to the third assailant who says they were paid.
Yeah.
So Allison is very, very scared at this moment because she knows Leonard is a psychopath. So they gotta go. They gotta fucking save her ass, of course. Meanwhile, Hazel running off with Agnes because he knocked Cha-Cha out.
He did.
Him and Agnes, they're just gonna run away because they think
and
they have
dude,
2 days.
Holy shit.
live.
Mary J. Blige, when she's cuffed to that thing, she goes, I will fucking kill
I know,
you.
Mary J.
If
Blige
you-
is so
If you don't
fucking
shoot me,
good in this.
she's great in this role,
Yeah.
man. Like, really, really good. Because I was getting even a little scared for Hazel. I'm like, dude, she will kill you. Like,
Well, she
was
was
like, you better
serious
shoot-
about it.
Yeah,
we find
she
out that
was.
she was true to her. I mean, she was very
blew up the donut shop.
in a very
Spoiler.
cool walk away from the
It
explosion.
was
kinda.
pretty dope.
Yeah, because she figures out that Cha-Cha goes and figures out that Hazel and Agnes ran away and figures out where they're going to.
Yes.
Because fucking Agnes. Leaving all kinds of clues around.
Just so careless. But she's oblivious to everything.
Well, yeah, she doesn't think that some time cop is
chase her around. I mean, can you blame her? No.
But yeah, so she does blow up the shop, but that's where we leave Cha-Cha. She's after Hazel.
Yeah, she is. Hellbent.
But Hazel ends up leaving Agnes, saying, I gotta go help the fucking academy.
Uh-huh.
And then Agnes was like, all right, I guess. I left my entire life to leave with you.
Yeah. But he's like, I promise I'll come back. There's only 2 days left till the end of the world, but I promise I will come back.
Yeah, well, he doesn't. He just says, he tells her, "What would you do? 2 days left." And this, but
When she goes,
He wants
and
to
then
spend more time with her.
traveling, and he's like, damn. Yeah,
like,
okay, I guess
anything
traveling
else?
too. He's a day to travel and a day to be there.
yeah, and she's like a real specific about like, so how much time do I have? Do I have time to travel? And he's got to get into the explain, but pretty much he leaves her to go help the fucking academy.
Yep.
But they end up finding Vanya in the cabin because they end up going because Leonard is still trying to provoke Vanya's abilities in the
Yes.
middle of the fucking
And still being just as pushy as ever, too.
yeah.
I
Now
mean,
with
God,
his one glass,
this guy's so
his
irritating.
arm in a spring.
Yeah, I mean, when they're out on that dock, too, with the boat, and he's like yelling at her, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Vanya, come on, open your eyes. Can't you see this guy's a douche?
Yes, but Vanya's slowly it's slowly working because
Yeah,
he
it is.
knows. I mean, he knows how to provoke it. It's all emotions they end up finding about. And then this kind of makes like a flashback or whatever, and it shows that Reginald was tried to train Vanya as well.
Yep.
but he
couldn't do it.
He was so scared.
And he got scared of her, yeah.
And then he ended up having to lock her away.
Yes, but I liked right before that when he was doing the different maids and she was killing all the maids.
Well, that's episode 9.
Oh shit!
It's the start of episode 9, yeah, which we're close to the end.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so episode 8 ends with just them showing that they locked Vanya away, and Vanya remembering this when Allison pops in, bad timing to the cabin,
Real bad timing.
and
at first, this scene is sweet. You know, they're talking, and she's like, I'm just worried about you, and you think, oh, okay, this might come to a nice little ending. Not the case.
But Allison, or Vanya, remembers that Allison was also forced by Reginald to use her powers to make
Allison
Vanya forget.
Confessed herself. She's
Well,
like,
obviously
I remember now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Keep that to yourself,
Yeah.
Allison. You don't need to. Look, go to the grave with that secret because it's not going to end well for Vanya.
Well, Vanya
or you.
doesn't kill her with her powers, surprisingly, but fucking out of pure emotion and anger, just swipes with the violin blow.
Slicing her throat.
Slices a fucking deep cut.
One of the biggest surprises in this show, because I was like, oh my God, they just killed Allison.
That's what I thought too, yeah.
I was like, there's no way. There's no way she's surviving this. There's no way she's dead. And I thought that was a weird way to take it. I'm like, damn, now 2 of the 7 Umbrella Academy are dead? How many ghosts are we going to have in this show?
I kind of thought that, but I kind of thought because it was like a throat thing, like, oh, she was going to come back, but she was not going to be just able to use her powers now. So it's like a catch-20, or catch-22, so you couldn't. But yeah, so she does end up
We might have
surviving.
to change that expression to catch 2020 now.
Catch
with how
2020,
fucking
yeah.
crazy this year has been.
It's a real catch 2020,
catch
where
2020.
everything just goes
Just
to shit.
sucks. Yeah.
So that's the end of episode 8. Leonard arrives and takes Vanya away.
Of course, yeah.
I'll
As
save
Allison's
you. I'm your
bleeding out.
hero. Yeah. Episode 9 changes. This is where they could do the flashback, and it shows that Vanya actually was pretty dangerous.
Yeah. And you
She
could
was
say that. You could
killing
ask all those
in
maids.
a kind of Damien, kind of Antichrist way, where she's
like mind
just
control,
killing
just
maids.
killing them.
But this is cool because it shows you why they had to build Grace and how they started out with real women, with real moms.
They did.
And then they end up having to build Grace because Grace could constantly keep breaking her neck when Vanya trips her down the stairs and just pop right back up.
And I do love that scene because Grace's neck is like all the way contorted and
Vanya
twisted.
is really just a
Straightens
cold-blooded
it up.
psychopath.
She's like, eat your oatmeal. And she's like, oh.
Killing machine.
All right. Well, this bitch is crazy.
Yeah, so she was kind of bad, but she just had a ton of power and
Yes, she
very
did.
little. You know, it's like if an 8-year-old had an immense amount of power, it'd be a very scary thing.
Yeah. I mean, when an 8-year-old doesn't want to listen, they're not going to not harm you. They don't understand consequences.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't understand that your neck snaps and it doesn't re-snap right back. So that happens, and then again we get that Vanya had to be locked away because of that. But Allison survives getting sliced. The next slice,
luckily because
surprisingly,
luckily because they show up in the nick of time to save her.
Yeah, but this doesn't end up so well in this episode for Leonard or Harold, unfortunately.
Well, you know what? Again, getting a little too pushy, guy.
Yes.
In this one, he got real pushy.
He
Where it's
did.
like, how did you not see the writing on the wall here? I mean, you could see just how irritated Vanya was.
Well, and Vanya found the
diary.
the diary that
Yeah.
he just left fucking out in the
careless.
middle of nowhere. So, but he does have a cool death where he gets like every pointy object in the house
stabbed into him. Yeah.
Pencils.
Do you think he comes back in season 2 somehow?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? You
No,
think he's
I
dead?
think he's dead on this one.
Yeah. Okay.
But how it ends though, so he probably will be back because you know how this one ends. They end up going back in time. So he probably will come back, but it won't be him in the future because he did get stabbed by everything. I mean, literally 40 times.
Everything. There were
He just
a lot of knives in that household too.
Well, just knives,
Forks.
scissors, anything you can imagine that guy had. But yeah, so Leonard's dead. He's out of it. But Vanya at this point is getting fucking too strong.
She is. She's getting super
scary,
powerful.
scary strong.
And, she goes, all right, he's gone now. Time to go to my recital. Just pack up her violin.
It's still on, man.
Oh, dude, look.
They're still
committed to
having
the
it.
cause.
Yeah, exactly.
That is one thing.
Yeah, and that's how you get number 1 chair.
It is.
Is you're committed no
Gotta be
matter
committed.
what. But during this, they find the siblings they finally find Leonard's
Body.
because Allison wakes up and she's like, Vanya has powers. And
I
they're like,
had to write it
"Oh,
in the
fuck."
notebook.
Yeah,
'cause her
exactly. Yeah.
voice is gone.
They find Leonard, and they find the glass eye, though. Was Leonard's glass eye from being knocked out from the 3 guys he hired to knock him out.
Yep.
But yeah, that connects everything, and Cha-Cha Hazel arrives to the academy, tries to help, but they say, Hazel, it's done. We already killed Leonard.
I
And he
love
goes,
this
here's
scene,
the guns so they can get Diego off.
Yeah. And I love this scene, too, because Hazel comes in, and then Diego comes in the room
a
and
long
immediately tries to kill him.
It stabs him a couple times.
And then he bites his ear, and then Five is like, okay, biting is where I draw the line, even after he's getting stabbed in the leg.
So that's pretty much it for how much Hazel helps with the apocalypse.
Not too much.
Because he's got to get back to his woman.
He does.
Who's left lonely.
Yeah,
in the
well,
hotel room.
and there's kind of a climax there that happens in that story later on,
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. So he leaves to go back to Agnes, but again, he leaves the guns for Diego to be honored,
Yep.
so they can't. But, so he goes back there, and Vanya, though, again, heartbroken, furious, she goes to the academy.
Yes.
But Luther locks her into the bad choice.
And what a sad scene, too.
Yeah, because all of her siblings are turning on her.
Turning on her,
now
yeah.
that Leonard already turned on her.
When you knew Luther was, because he cares more for Allison than any of his other siblings, clearly.
Yeah, and
he's
he's still's got a thing for, his dad, even though his dad's dead, he's got to save the world for his daddy. Even though his dad was the biggest piece of shit.
Yeah, he really was. It's weird that he's got this strange attachment to his father.
Yeah, but
But I mean, when you're named number 1,
yeah, exactly,
you're pretty special.
And so that's the end of episode 9. Episode 10, Vanya's escaped, used her power to escape the chamber.
She did.
And the episode 10 is the white violin.
I love the eye effect that they use.
Yeah.
The contacts or whatever. And then it might have been special effects, but those eyes look sick.
It did
those
look
look
awesome.
really
Yeah.
cool.
So this is the climax. Last episode, the siblings. Vanya fucking wrecks the mansion. Gone.
And unfortunately, Pogo meets his demise.
Yeah, which is sad because we didn't bring it up, but Pogo, he's got a great character arc
He does.
where Pogo was the dad. Pogo was the
Yes.
one these guys should have loved.
Yep.
But Pogo, like everyone else, was just there to please Reginald.
Well, and Pogo kept a lot of secrets from
For
all
Reginald,
of them.
exactly.
For Reginald.
For Reginald. So he had to go. But sad, probably the saddest death in the entire series, in my mind, was the Pogo death.
It was sad, too. And Vanya, Vanya just looks at him dead in the eyes and says, "Did you know?" He, of course, tells her the truth. And then she just picks him up and puts him on those horns. Or those, antlers. And it's over.
Poor
No
Pogo.
more Pogo.
Yeah.
But we're going back in time, so maybe we get Pogo next season.
Maybe we get a Pogo before he's even intelligent, a baby Pogo.
Aw, baby Pogo.
Baby Pogo.
How cute.
Because Pogo was an old man at this
Yes, he
this
was
point.
an old chimp.
So I don't know how long. I don't know if, because he's human, maybe he lives longer, but I know chimps don't live so long, so.
Yeah.
You go back
I
30
think they're only
years.
like 40, 50,
Yeah, it's
right?
not very
Yeah.
long, yeah.
Not as long as
Well, in the
us.
wild, they live less.
Well, yeah.
less.
Yes. I think most things live a lot less in the wild.
So she kills Pogo, unfortunately, but she's becoming very powerful. She's destroying buildings. Obviously, this is the apocalypse happening right now. Using the violin as, a conduit or something like that. But they all go, the siblings regroup in the bowling alley while Vanya prepares for her final performance. Yep. So they all meet. And Five, it's a small thing, but Five meets the handler at the hotel, but it's just used as a distraction because the commission needs the world to end.
Yes,
That's the way it's got to happen.
Well, and then they send all those commissioned soldiers into
Which
the
is
bowling
an
alley.
awesome scene because Ben ends up having a big part in
the
this
theater
last
part,
episode. He saves Diego because for the first time he's able to physically interact now.
Yeah,
Ben.
and manifest through Klaus.
Then he manifests through Klaus and kills all the commission guys, which is cool, yeah. And this is what I'm guessing is Klaus's, like, when he was talking about how he hasn't fully
he hasn't been able to manifest his powers.
Now he can actually manifest people from the dead.
Which
and
is pretty
physically
dope.
interact.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because before
Especially
his
when your
power was
brother
damn near
is-
useless.
Yeah. Especially now when your brother is a awesome like octopus thing that can
exactly.
kill people.
Yeah, so he's a good guy to come back.
And he just rips those guys in half. I'm like,
Poor
damn.
Ben still, though, cannot get
I
away
know.
from the only time he ever was of any use was when he was brutally murdering people.
Covered in blood.
And even as a ghost, he cannot escape that fate.
can't.
But
But I mean, at least he's still around. It's fine.
exactly, he's still part of the crew, I guess. But I got a feeling he's going to have a much larger part in the second season. Now that Klaus can bring him back, you know.
And I do like that element of having one of the 7 dead because, like, he's dead, but he's not dead. It's kind of that cool little twist on a superhero.
Yeah, and the guy who plays Ben is great.
Yes, he is.
They're all great,
Yeah.
but they all... Out of watching this again, my least favorite is probably Allison out of all of them, just because I did not really care that much about her side plot of her
With her child and stuff,
and her husband and all that and whatnot, and her power too. Her power is fucking the most powerful power,
And she
but it's
never uses it.
never uses it
Never.
exactly. Yeah,
It's
She's
kind of
like,
weird. Like, it is the most powerful thing. You can literally
well, she's like
manipulate
Martin
people to do whatever you want.
or the Martian Manhunter in Justice League had the best powers.
Mm-hmm.
Every episode, there was a reason why he couldn't use them.
Yeah.
He was hurt or something. So it's kind of the same thing, where her powers are so powerful that from the very start they had to make a reason why she doesn't. And it's because she ended up using it on her kid, which, you know. Parents fucking feed their kids cough syrup to get
Of
them to
course.
sleep using your power.
Give him a little hint of that. Is that a whiskey?
Yeah,
or vodka?
exactly, yeah.
Let's go to sleep
Gotta
here.
knock him down a little. So her using her power, I did not think it's
Was
shitty.
that big of a
It's
deal?
shitty, but it's not like I'll never use my power.
But it wasn't
again.
like she was using her power to like harm the child. It was just to get the little bastard to go to
go
bed.
to sleep. Yeah,
It's like, I'm not reading you another bedtime story.
exactly.
I got things to do.
I get if you're using it all the time,
Yeah.
but she literally used it once. It was like I can't do
such
this
a big
again.
deal.
But of course, she did have the guilt of using the power on Vanya as well.
Well, yes. So there's probably a little bit
Probably
of
was
PTSD
that. Yeah,
from
exactly.
that experience.
But that's the thing with all of them is their only times they ever got to use their powers, they never liked to because it was always under their dad's rule.
yes.
Even 5 and all of them, they can only use it when he allowed. So none of them really like using it. Except for Vanya at this point, she seems like she's enjoying it the time. So in Vanya, she's getting ready for her concert. They're wiping everything out. Oh, and Hazel and Cha-Cha get into a big fight at the hotel.
They do.
And they end up
Well,
getting
because
interrupted.
Agnes is about to fall into the boiling water. The commissioner
Because Cha-Cha was there with Agnes already.
commissioner freezes it, and then they find out that 5 actually sent both of them
To go and
to
kill him,
terminate
yeah.
each other, and then the handler is just laughing about it.
So now, and it happens a lot, but now Hazel and Cha-Cha are working together again, but Hazel again
Says-
and
betrays her.
betrays her.
Drives into a barrier.
Cha-Cha really
She
never
goes
learns.
Flying.
Again, just goes back to Agnes. He loves that
He loves
woman.
that woman.
Well, he loves the
He does.
donuts. Let's
Well,
be honest.
you know what?
She wasn't that great of a
A
person
good
to get.
donut, you can fall in
It's
love
hard to
with
come
someone.
by. It's
It
hard
is.
to come by these days. So yeah, that's happening. There's a big battle in the theater while Vanya is, tearing shit up. Somehow Vanya's big fucking burst that was gonna kill everyone is deflected. Hits the fucking moon.
What a shot.
Yeah, no.
What are the chances?
Bad odds the moon wasn't waxing at that
I
point.
know,
It would
right?
have just missed and
It
hit
would've.
something else. Destroys the fucking moon. Shit is
Flying towards Earth.
yeah,
Not
obviously
good.
this is the end of the world.
It's yeah.
And
Well,
but
one of those-
I love that ending because they didn't win.
No, they didn't.
I like that a lot. That they didn't end up winning at the end where you're because I never read the comics. Obviously,
Right.
I had no idea. I thought for sure they were going to end up having to kill Vanya, which would have been shitty too. And that would have been a hard end as well. But
I love the way they
I
wrapped
love the
up
way they
season
did it,
1.
too. Yeah.
And I think that's why it was so successful, this show, is because it didn't end the way you... Because, again, it's a superhero show. It's so predictable. Oh, they win at the end. Everything's fine. And then, season 2, a complete new villain, a complete new this. They turned it on its head, man. I mean, it was completely different and unique and original. I loved it.
Well,
I loved the
basically
end of
at the end when shit's coming down.
The world is
world's
literally ending.
5 just goes, well, let's just do a redo.
Let's just redo this. Luckily, I got the
'cause
power
we
of time travel.
Suck at this.
Yeah,
we are
do.
not very good at this. But he says, he's going to have to really, I mean, it's not going to be easy, but he can take them all back in time.
Yep.
And just, kind of redo whatever we did.
But I
here.
wonder if he took them all back as kids because they were all transforming into kids. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
As they were, but we'll see.
I
doubt
already
that.
know from the trailer of season 2 that they go back in their regular. Except for 5 is still,
It's still
a kid.
Poor 5.
But they all go back. But
well, I mean, you don't want to change that actor. That kid's phenomenal.
Of course not.
He's so good.
yeah, you don't want him to be played by the old man.
Yeah.
Who was only in it for 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
I mean, he did a good job, of course,
did,
but he
yeah.
couldn't. No, 5. The actor who does 5 he's great, but yeah, as the world is consumed, Hazel and Agnes escape, and the Umbrella Academy transports back in time.
That is the end of season 1. Now,
This is
Cash,
season 1.
no spoilers, nothing. I don't want to hear it.
Okay.
But a yes or no answer will do. Have you started season 2 yet?
I have. I've watched the first 4 episodes of season 2.
Okay. Can I get a sense of like where you're at? Is it? I mean, are you enjoying it or?
I
is it,
am absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even rewatching season 1, I even forgot how much I enjoyed this show.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I watched it again and I was like, oh man, this show is really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a great spin on the superhero X-Men Academy thing.
Yeah.
It's a really good spin on that.
You think they're keeping up with the momentum that ended in season 1? You think they picked it up pretty well?
Yes,
in 2?
absolutely. I think season 2 starts off. Once I'm not going to get to it, but it starts off hot. It gets right into
Oh,
it. It's
really?
super cool.
Oh, I
yeah,
cannot
it's super
wait.
cool how they go back in time and how they all kind of branch out. But it's super cool. Yeah.
Sweet.
I'll let you know. It's not too much, but they go back. It's the 60s. So
Oh,
you know what
that's
that
fun.
time's
Oh,
like.
Yeah, it's a little wild. It's a little wild.
It's crazy times. It is
is.
crazy times. But yeah, I mean, so it's that, and it's like going back for like Allison, who's black, going back in the 60s. So that stuff is interjected into it.
Well, and from going from a
good,
famous
man.
movie star and then going back
Yeah.
to the 60s,
Gerard
it's gotta
Way.
be,
He fucking killed it.
Yeah.
The guy, he knows how to write music for emo 14-year-old girls, and he knows how to
knows how to write
write
comic
a
books.
decent comic book.
Yeah.
That's impressive. All right.
Alrighty, well, that is our recap and review for season 1 of The Umbrella Academy. Stay tuned for the next 2 TV Tuesdays.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk
as
about
we
it.
jump into episodes 1 through 5 and then 6 through 10 of season 2 of The Umbrella Academy. If you guys are watching on YouTube, please be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. Podcast format, Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher, social media pages, Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Cash is on Twitter, that's just Cash. Instagram, Have You Seen It? Facebook, Have You Seen It Podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krausen. Until next time.
Bye.